Good evening. Patrick here, 8 Questions with. Welcome to the show. That's right. We are rolling through the second week of Women in Entertainment Month. Yeah, we've been having a lot of fun. We're having a lot of fun. Glad you guys are here to join it on a Thursday. Um, yeah, beautiful spring weather here in southeastern Michigan, that's for sure. Um, all right. So we will be talking with actress, producer, and model Johnna Hodge will be here with us, and she is one half of CineSavage Films. The other half is her husband Sam, and they are making a movie called Redhead, which sounds really, really like right up our alley as far as slasher or revenge slasher type movies. And I understand there's even going to be a part two that they're setting up for too. And it used to be like with indie films, you always would like see that at the end of a movie where they would set it up for a part two. And a lot of times that was just a lot of times it was just a fantasy. But I think more and more of indie film directors, I think they are actively planning that and budgeting for it as well. They know that because it's very hard to put over an original movie. So sometimes it's pretty cool to be able to do a original film like Redhead, and then have the second half behind it ready to go. That way, you keep your name out there. You get to keep your cast together. You can budget it for it. There's continuity, and what happens is not only do you get one movie out in the public's eye, but now you're in a position to get two out in a relatively short amount of time. But of course, you got to be a good filmmaker to do that, and I do believe that's who we'll be talking with today with Sam and Jonah. I hope I'm pronouncing her name right. I keep wanting to say Joanna, but it's Johanna, but there's no A there. Uh, but we'll be talking with her in a few minutes. Um, I want to thank everybody who's coming out and supporting the show this week. We've had two really good shows. Of course, with Nikki Serenity, and then yesterday we talked to Jamie Olson. Wow, just a lot of fun. Hey, and there's our good friend Mike. Did you see that? All right, all right, all right. Big things coming on the channel for him. That's going to be fun when it happens. I'm not going to say nothing else other than that. But let me tell you, it's going to be a lot of fun. When that thing gets connected, I can't wait to see. I can't wait to see it. I love it when a plan comes together. That's right. Um, that's what community is all about too. Is helping other people, not just yourself, not just your channel, not relying on your followers or your subs or your whatever to float your boat. Community means you float other people's boats. You help me, I help you. That's the strongest. That's community. That's the only way community can actually work. Not just take, 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 take. You got to give, give, give sometimes. So yeah, man, it's gonna happen. That's gonna happen, Mike. There's no doubt in my mind about that. It's just a matter of you guys crossing your T's and dotting your I's. As far as the schedule goes. There's no doubt that it's going to happen. It will happen. It's just but you know how that works. I mean, you've done interviews before, so you know how that works. You have to work around the schedule of the subject you're talking to. That's how it works. It isn't when it's not when you're available. It's when they're available, and you have to work around their schedule, and that's all right. That's all right. Now, Now, I'm really, really excited to see what comes of that. I think it's going to be super cool, and I think it'll do very, very well. And yeah, Sunday. Gosh, let's talk a little bit about Sunday. So on the Horror Addicts channel, I think it's going to probably be a Horror Addicts channel and also Gory B movie on this Sunday at 9 o'clock Eastern time. 9 o'clock Eastern time, 6 o'clock Pacific time. It's the Oscars. not Oscars, the Oscars, and it's the best of horror of last year. And yours truly it has been invited for that. I got whoops, doorbell rang. Hold the thought, hold the thought. You know how that goes. When the doorbell rings, we go run to answer it. So thank you for coming in. Please share us out. Please support us. Please watch the replay. And let's go talk to actress, producer, and model Johnna Hodge from CineSavage Films and the star of Redhead. And here we go. Good evening.
Hi.
Hi, how are you?
Fine. How are you doing?
Good. I guess the very first question is, how do we say your name?
It's Johnna.
Jonah. Okay. Okay. I keep on waiting. I keep on wanting to see the A in it to say Joanna, but I was like, how do I say it? How do I say it? So it's Jonah. Okay. All right.
Yeah,
All right.
Johnna.
Well, it was very nice meeting you, Jonah. Sorry
Nice
that
meeting you.
I'm sorry Sam couldn't make it in tonight, but later on we will be having Sam on the show. I can tell you that.
That'll be
Um,
wonderful. He'll love that.
Yeah, good, good. You know, we got to support the film. We got to support indie filmmakers any way we can, right?
Thank you. We appreciate that so much.
Well, we appreciate you. We appreciate you guys going and working your asses off to give us crazy horror fans great movies and with great action and a little bit of revenge. And honestly, who doesn't love redheads?
Oh, thank you.
Uh, I know that's probably. I know that I think redheads are kryptonite for a lot of fellas out there. Um, So, but so nice that you're here on our show, and we're going to be talking a little bit about your career, and definitely want to talk about CineSavage, and of course Redhead. And I commented before you got here. I commented how cool I thought it was. You know, most of the time when indie filmmakers they make a film at the end, a lot of times at the end of the movie, they always leave that opening for a sequel.
Uh-huh.
And about 95% of the times that never happens. The sequel never happens because it's hard as hell getting just to get the first one up, right? You
Yeah.
know, and then you want to sit there and say, well, gosh, I'm letting this go, and I'm hoping it's going to do well enough so it can justify a sequel. Um, but it does seem like a lot of indie filmmakers now are doing their films with the idea of a sequel in play. Like not like okay, if this does well, we'll come back and do another one. It's now it's like we're making two movies. We're making the first one and and we're just going to do the second one as well. We're going to try to get the budget for the second one. There's a lot of story to tell. We'll just keep it going. And then, and then basically it's like we'll get it out there, cross our fingers that it does well enough for the second one. But
Yeah.
but at least then you'll have two movies out instead of
Yeah.
just the one movie and a hope. Now you have two movies, and and that's that's helpful. Um,
Yes.
Now where are you based at?
We're in Barbersville, West Virginia.
West Virginia.
Uh-huh.
Oh, right. I don't think I've ever talked to a filmmaker in West Virginia yet.
Oh, really? That's
No.
awesome.
Wow. Wow. Okay, so let's talk about West Virginia. Where city are you in? Are you in Huntington?
We're in Barbersville. We're close to Huntington.
So it's like a little sub. It's like is it like a suburb of Huntington?
Well, it's a little bit further, and our town's called Barbersville. And actually, the mayor of Barbersville and the police department was in our movie. And
No.
so it's an awesome town here. Huntington's wonderful, but Barbersville is really, really more different. They love the horror movie community here so much.
Uh,
We're very appreciative to that too.
how many people are in your town?
um, I'm not honestly sure how many is in our town, but I know that there isn't many other people that make horror movies. Me and Sammy are kind of like the king and queen of horror here.
Right.
So it's kind of rare that have to deal with a lot of people coming to them saying, "Hey, I want to do a horror movie," but they were all about it here.
That is
They
so
love it.
cool. That's so I'm actually I'm that's because I've talked to I've talked to filmmakers from Florida, Georgia,
Uh-huh.
Ohio, Iowa, Canada, and Illinois. It's so cool to this really is the first time I've heard anybody do making films in West Virginia. How fun is that?
It
Um,
is. It's really fun.
I tell you one thing. If you ever decide to do a Bigfoot movie, you don't have to worry about scouting for locations.
Yeah, there's lots of cool areas here for that, for sure.
Uh, hey, Stephen, how are you? How are you? Glad you're here. Glad you're here. Um, okay, so I have to ask this. Have you always been in West Virginia? What brought you to West Virginia?
I grew up in Cerrito, West Virginia. And then later on, I moved to Huntington and then to Barbersville. Me and Sammy moved to Barbersville a few years ago. His mother had passed away, and she wanted us, after she passed, she made sure to make it a wish that we moved in her home because she wanted us here. So that's the reason why we moved to Barbersville, which he grew up in Barbersville. And So he was kind of already, really established here. And then we got us a couple moved in here. It's everybody just was already crazy about us as a couple. It was kind of wild.
Right, because Sam had roots there. And
Yeah.
then yeah, okay, all right. So you're the only now let's go back to your beginning a little bit. So
Okay.
when did you how did you decide to become an actress? I mean, what came first for you in your career? What did you do first? Because you're an actress and you're also known as a model. So which of the two came first
Uh-huh.
to you?
Um, well, originally, I grew up. I was born in '77, so I grew up watching the '70s and '80s movies all my life. And one of the first ones when I was a little girl, I loved watching was The Thing, which was kind of odd for my parents for me loving something that was so scary. But I just seemed to be intrigued with it. And it was kind of crazy at a young age. I always like thought everything was kind of cool and neat looking, and Sammy, he was the same way. Whenever he was younger, he kind of felt that attachment. Like, I feel like I was born to do this, or I would love to do this, but I feel like I'm kind of born for this. Whenever I actually at one time before I ended up starting doing this, I started this in about 2019. Sammy started in 2017. He started with his first full feature here called 12 Pole, which it was a huge ordeal here, kind of like Redhead, but it was at the time he was one of the first filmmakers to ever do a horror feature here or any kind of feature altogether. So it was a big, huge, gigantic thing here. So when he started, he actually was looking for somebody to be a vampire in a movie that he wrote a script for, but we didn't actually do it yet. And he was wanting his female vampire to have a certain look for her. And he kind of saw me, I guess, my profile on Facebook. And he's like, hey, he reached out to me and he wanted me to be his vampire because he thought that with the red hair and everything and the pale skin that I'd look kind of great for it. And I told him that it was kind of wild that he asked me that because with the Ash versus Evil Dead series, I had tried to be cast in that where I wanted to try to get into this. And It was kind of odd. They messaged me back and they told me that I had to look for it, but that they needed somebody that was locally there because it was a 1 day shoot. And it ended up being the scene where the girl was on the bull and she was riding the bull with Ash's dad. And I didn't know what scene it was for, but I was kind of honored at least that they said I had to look for it, and
Oh,
that if they had something else. So then after that, Sammy found me. It was really weird, and he said, I'd kind of like you to be in my horror movie. I think that you'd be cool." And then we started talking, and we had been to all these horror cons and met all these horror people the same, and so we had the same interests. And then he seen I was kind of his mate, the want to do all the hard work too to make films with him. He seen I kind of was willing and driven to want to work hard to do whatever to even help make the whole movies with him.
Yeah, because you know this from experience that it's not like you just wear one hat when you do an independent film.
Oh
It's not like
yeah.
you walk up there and say, "I'm the talent," or "I'm crew," or "I'm lighting," or "I'm the line producer." It's like
Yeah.
I'm the line producer and the grip. I'm lighting and the actor. It's like I'm the director and the location scout. Because
Yeah.
you have to wear like four or five different hats when you do
Yeah.
independent films. Uh,
That's it. It's like a lot of hats for one thing. It's crazy, but yet at the same time, it's like you wouldn't change anything for the world to do it.
uh, Now, when you said you wanted to get into acting, had you done any acting at all when you were younger? High
um,
school or community theater or anything like that?
I did do some drama class,
Okay.
and stuff like that, but I don't know. I had a crazy past, and I think that my crazy past kind of drives me to be able to portray things and emotions that kind of normally that it's harder for people to do. I could just produce it really quickly, and he noticed that, and he thought that was kind of cool. He's like, "Gosh, you can just like get right into this." I just think about the character, and once I think about it, I really get in that mode, and I try to portray it the best way that I can possibly to make the audience feel like really like that character is either sad or going through some terrible things, or they're really peed off. you know.
Is it easy to? I mean, I know this may sound sort of stereotypical, and I apologize beforehand, but
Uh-huh.
do you find it easier for you to get to those emotions quicker and faster because of where you're at more than what you've done?
Um, I just I like to think about the character before I start my acting and think about how that the character would feel like. I kind of I drive a little bit from my past, but I feel like that's not really the main thing. I just want to portray how if that person was in that situation, how they would really feel. And I do a lot of thinking before I act, and it doesn't take me long, but I think about it and then just then I hardcore go right into it. And me and him enjoy working together because he can do the same thing, and we have a close relationship because we can understand each other a lot with all this
Mm.
so much that it's unique for a couple to be like that.
Yeah, no doubt about that. Especially when you're giving up so much of that, because not only are you giving that up for, you draw that upon yourselves, you're taking it from yourselves. It
Uh-huh.
would be hard. It would be hard enough to do it just as a simple couple, but
Yeah.
they can do it, then to do it in front of a whole cast and crew, to get there. Um, So, I mean, and now, do you ever get really close to your character? Do you like climb into the character, or do you go that far with it?
There's some parts in Redhead, especially when she was captured at the beginning of the movie. I really intensely got caught up with Autumn so much that it took me a little while to get out of that, because I
Mm.
started really intensely thinking about it. And before we started shooting, I said, "Let me let me kind of sit here just this 1 second here. Let me think about this." And I started thinking about it really hardcore. And then when we started, I really got into her character really hardcore. And me and my co-star Ashley, we really did a great job together with everything. I was really caught up with being sad. He was really intensely like at me and really ready to just hurt me. And I think we did a great job together with that scene. I think when people watch it, they're going to really see that we was really kind of in that mode when they watch it.
Now, what was your now you said you just got into this in 2019, so that's not that long ago. So what steps did you take to become an actress? How did you get your training, or where did you get your experience at? Like I said, did you work on other films? Did you do community theater? How did you start to become an actress?
Okay. Well, I started at first doing short films. And then after I did short films, I also was an actress, and I won a Best Actress award at the haunt that me and Sammy worked at, also 12 Pole Manor. So I did haunt acting, and that kind of gave me some fun practice along with doing short films that I was doing too, also before I got into doing feature films. And that gave me some extra practice too, along with trailers that we would go and do a lot for the 12 Pole Manor. We would do these crazy trailers that was really cool with a lot of acting. And then that gave us some more practice for me to learn how to do some of the things to make the films too. So a lot of the short films, I think, and a lot of the trailers that we had to do for the manor that we worked at, and then along with the really kind of being a scare actor gives you a really good prep
Yeah.
for what you're going to do for feature films too. So that
You,
gave me a lot of prep ready for that too.
it's funny. It's like you think about it, like a lot of those haunts, it used to be just people who used to volunteer, like,
Yeah,
and then, they had to beg for people to come out and volunteer. Come on. And then, a lot of times, you don't really think about it too much. He's like, okay, the person's here, throw some makeup on them and throw them out there into the maze. But
yeah,
as the years have gone by, and
yeah,
a lot of these haunts, they it's not just it used to be just like October 1st to Halloween. A lot of these haunts are now opening up, like in middle of September and
yeah,
run into the first week of November. So there's a
yeah,
lot of time. It's almost like a play, the same
yeah.
schedule. Like, you practice, you show up and you got to do the same thing every night. Um, Haunt actors now, they got to act now, don't they? I mean, you got to have some skills to do that now. It isn't
You have
just,
to. Yes, because people don't get scared much anymore. Yeah, they
well,
don't. They'll tell other actors or whatever. They'll say, "Well, you don't scare me," and but that's another reason why me and Sammy, I got into doing a lot of like the makeup stuff with him, because he had already done a lot of makeup when he did 12 pole and all that. And me and him would do our own makeup before we went in, and I'd have my brains like hanging out, and we'd have slashes, and he'd have his whole skull showing, and
mm,
we'd do our crazy makeup that looked really really amazing too before we went in, so that it would be good for them to have some extra scary looks too for them, so they didn't have to worry about doing makeup either. But we'd just spend like a couple hours and do ours and go in there and look really scary with contacts, and the crazy makeup and the gore. And it was just, I don't know, it was really fun.
what haunt did you guys work for? You can go ahead and give them a
uh,
shout out.
12 Pole Manor, and they also helped with the features. And 12 Pole is also the place that Sammy did the movie with them, and then also he did the movie before 12 Pole even opened. He did that movie before the 12 Pole Manor even opened their doors. So that manor's kind of a big thing with us, and all the people that are there. I went to school with a few of them there, and then plus the other ones are like a beloved family. So they're really wonderful people. You would love them. They're all fabulous.
I bet you guys are already, even now, are having meetings about the next season, aren't you?
Well, we didn't get to work it this last time because we was getting ready for our premiere for Redhead at that time. My birthday is October 30th, so we did it then. And now, since we're going to be working on the second Redhead and stuff, we'll kind of see how that goes. But yeah, but we also do the movies with some of those people. Also, they come in. Travis Robinson's in the movie, and Dina Leslie, Scott Myers. And Josh kind of help with some things too with some of the makeup, and so we've got all them involved kind of with the movie stuff too, and it's really fun. We all work as a team uh,
Now,
when when uh, when we do this.
that's really cool. That's really cool. How big is your film community in your town? How many
Um,
companies are out there?
there's a few other people. There's a lot of them that more than feature film people. There's a lot of short film people that just make short films and go to these local festivals or something with their short films with like Marshall University, and stuff like that. There's another couple filmmakers there, and they're all basically like, I think they're like drama and stuff like that that make films. Me and Sammy's the only ones that really go hardcore wanting to make horror films together here, and we're actually the only ones that make feature films here too. Other than one other that, but he does drama, but he's had one, I think one feature here, and then we've got the horror film realm. So now this is our fourth horror film here, feature. So it's kind of, we just keep going. Hopefully with Redhead 2 we'll have our fifth one.
I'm just thinking here. I'm going like, I'll probably burn in hell for this, but I'm thinking of a good idea for a horror film for you guys. I'm thinking, what if they had like a plane that crashed, right? And all these football players were on it, and they all got off the plane and
Oh,
decided
oh yes, well, they've done that over here too. Those other filmmakers, yeah. Marshall movie.
we
Yeah,
are Marshall, but we're ghosts,
we are
like.
Marshall.
I go, yeah, that'll probably that would be they'd come punch my ticket if I came up there and said, I got an idea.
Yeah,
Yeah,
that
I
was
could
a
already,
big one here that they did.
I've never got any hate mail to the show from any show I've done so far. But I was feeling, if somebody sees this, they're gonna sit there and say, "What that son of? I'll show him some football." Uh, just an idea. It's just an idea. You got to come up with ideas for these horror films, and it's like, haunted plane of football players looking for justice. I mean, how cool would that be? Think of all the great makeup you can get out of it. All right, I better
Yeah.
stop. Yeah. Um. Oh my gosh. So you guys are, I know, right? Here we go. Wait till Sammy hears this, and he's gonna go like, that's not such a bad idea. But if it goes off the rails, we'll blame that guy over in Michigan for it, because he's the one that gave us the idea. Go burn him at the stake. What's real? As far as horror goes, now Redhead, it seems to be in the vein of I spit on your grave, and P2 and Captivity. Is it going to be
Yeah.
one of those type of movies? Is it revenge thriller?
Yeah, it's revenge, but it's a whole different world other than like Spit on My Grave. It's more like Redhead is crazy after what happens to her, and she's also demon possessed. So she's got like a demon basically that's got a hold of her, giving her these different strengths, and giving her an attitude to where more than just revenge on the people that did things to her, but people that are really annoying her when she's trying to just have peace, from what all happened to her. She won't deal with somebody trying to take her peace away. She'll just kill them. uh,
Right.
so it's
That-
kind of a different world, and she's got a demon that's got a real good grasp on her that you will see throughout the film, and it really has a hold on her. It's taking her grief, and it's giving her some power with it.
Um, what,
Kind of
what type?
crazy, but it's fun.
Now, did you see any of those types of movies when you grew up? I mean, what kind of? I mean, you mentioned The Thing, and that's a great movie. But what else?
Yeah.
But what else did you watch when you grew up to influence you to love horror as much as you do?
um
What other
when
films, what other actors, or that you looked at? Were there any actresses that inspired you? As far as like, I could do what she's doing.
um I love, there were so many, it's crazy. I love Texas Chainsaw. I love the Halloween movies. I love the Demons movies. Demons 1 and 2 are a big, huge favorite.
Yeah,
And it's almost like when me and Sammy was figuring out Redhead, we wanted to take a piece of all different kinds of things that we grew up loving and kind of make our own idea out of it. Instead of taking something from another movie that we loved, we just wanted to create something that was our own, but still kind of thought about our inspirations while we were doing it. Um, but you can kind of see kind of like where we kind of do love like the slasher, but then you can also see where we love Texas Chainsaw. You can kind of see where we love the Demons franchise. You can kind of see where when you watch the movie, you can kind of see all the different worlds that we kind of grew up in, that we took on our own aspect of it. Um, it's kind of cool because even with the chainsaw in the movie, I'm really running a real chainsaw, sort of like what he did in Texas Chainsaw, with the chain on it. And I'm running it kind of crazy in these scenes. And we practiced it a lot and made it safe. But I was like, man, I think this is cool because as much as I love Texas Chainsaw 1 and 2, this is kind of cool. I'm getting to do this, you know.
Right, you get
And
to wave it around well, yeah. And you said you left the chain on it?
yeah, we left the
Yikes.
chain on it, so it was a
Whoop.
real actual shot of it with a chain.
Now
And it's kind of
how
cool.
long was the chainsaw pretty heavy to wield, or, did you take time between shoots, between
Um,
shots?
it um, it was pretty heavy. And
Yeah,
we had some shots too where Ashley he had to run it too, and he ran it with a chain. But then we had to do some really creepy shots too, to where we wanted the chainsaw with the chain to actually come at the camera, so it actually would come at the cameras,
right.
where it looked like it was coming at my victim. And we did that successfully with a lot of practice and safety to do it. Um, and I feel really excited that we did that, and it turned out really good. For indie people, I feel really excited. I'm excited for people to see it more. That there's a lot of people that's probably already seen it. Well, we had a big premiere here, and then some of the festivals are seeing it. But when it goes out there, I really am.
Sure.
I hope they love it. I really
So,
hope people love it.
do you like I mean, it's a slasher supernatural movie, so what do you like better? I mean, what do you like? Is it easier to become because you got to become, possessed with a demon. It's like there's no really books out there to tell you how to do that. Like, okay, oh, okay, I gotta say some of these, I gotta do this to become the demon. There's really no really guidebook for that. So how did you prep yourself to get possessed by a demon? Did you go to your
Um,
local church and ask the priest for help, or I mean, I pro
No, what I did was where she's partially kind of getting possessed in the first movie. It's got a hold on her and it's trying to grip her totally at this time, and it's just really like trying to scrape at her. So um, I had to build her to her character up. She went from being weak and sad and and like really torn down and crazy from what she's went through. She's been to a psychiatrist and she's trying to like go out in the world trying to figure it out. Her husband's dead, got killed in front of her, so she's like really crazed. And so I wanted her character to you see her transition. So you'll see her go from that, and you'll see her go from being still a little bit weak, and then she's starting to get possessed, and then you'll start seeing her build up to where you'll see she's totally out there just crazy, and she don't care anymore about anything. I
Right.
built her up, and the whole movie Autumn builds up into where you see a whole different world with her as at the end of the movie. It's something I wanted her to become.
And you left
It was
that
kind of
opening up
yeah.
to now, did you and Sam when you were doing this movie, did you do that? Did you lay out two different storyboards, or did you write two different scripts for part one and part two, or did you do part one and then sit around and then look at each other and said, what, we kicked ass for this. Let's go make another one. What was the plan? Was it all planned? Was it planned to do the two of them back to back, or pick it up after the first one?
We just he wrote the script for the first one, and then we went over it together, and then we went over how I wanted Autumn to be, and then so we just had one movie planned. We ended up getting a location after that, and the location was so awesome. We already kind of thought of ways, which we ended it in a way where it kind of you wasn't for sure if there was going to be another one or not, but you kind of feel like there might be. And then me and him already, boom, come up with all these ideas for, if where people at the end of the movie at the premieres, they were saying that they couldn't wait to see another one. That's what hit us. Well, if people might want more that's seeing it worldwide, maybe we ought to go ahead and like start thinking about this so we can go ahead and start getting things rolling for this. And so then we kind of thought these really autumn things that awesome. That's just like thousand times even more crazier than what's in the first one, which the first one's pretty crazy. But yeah, we've already kind of started on the script pretty good, and I think people's going to really think that's really crazy for the stuff we've come up with. We've talked to some people about things, even more locations, and our mayor here, he's always supporting us and the police department to help make things really crazy too with the movie. So I
Um,
think that where everybody said they wanted it, I think that's what really drove us to decide, well, hey, we got to do this.
were people surprised to see you play Autumn to play Autumn because you come across being as so sweet and kind. I mean, coming across
Yeah.
in this interview, I'm just thinking this must be one hell of an acting performance because you are very, very kind.
Oh,
You're very
thank you.
gentle. So for you to get into that mode of Autumn and being possessed, I just want to see it. I want now I
Oh,
want to
thank
see it. I'm
you.
like I want to see how this happens. It's like because this is not exactly what you don't come across as the one that would play a possessed ass kicker, but it's like, but now I want to see it.
I'm glad you want to see it.
Uh, so
Yeah,
tell us
my
about the
people I grew
filming
up
of the
with.
movie. I'm sorry. Tell us about the filming of the movie. Well, now you mentioned you're some your town's small. It's out right Huntington. Uh, um, so tell us a little bit about where did you shoot the movie at? How did you get the police to help you and the mayor to help you make a movie? Because that doesn't happen very often.
Um, we kind of met him a lot where Sammy, he works at 1861, which is down the street. It's a barn and a pizza place, has all different stuff, and he comes in there all the time. We got really close to knowing the mayor, and so when we first brought it up to him about Redhead, he thought it was really cool, and so he was like, "Hey," and so he wanted to be involved, and we wanted him to be involved. And then he ended up getting the police department and stuff to help us too with the real police cars and everything. And then the whole community kind of came together. They loved us and the idea and what we was going to do, and so we ended up getting a lot of businesses. 1861, we ended up getting the paint coating place in Guyandotte, which is it's my ex boss, which he's one of my best friends and family, and then Benefit Wholesale that I used to work at also, which is one of his businesses. And then we ended up getting his bar, which is it's his personal bar, and then we ended up getting a bunch of other another bar, Bar None. We have so many producers on this movie. It's crazy.
Yeah.
People that wanted it to so much with businesses here, people that just wanted to contribute money to help so that we could afford to get all the different special effects and the blood, because we made our own blood too for the movie. Um,
Okay.
Sammy worked hard making blood like crazy so that we used our own blend of blood instead of buying, the blood that you would buy from like Amazon or something. Like we just make it all the time, so it looked better. And then mouth blood that is safe for people to go in their mouth. Made that. So we spent a lot of money on effects and blood and outfits to destroy and like crazy things like that. And people made sure, hey, you want to do this? We'll help you. We'll help you. We'll help you. And it's just amazing. And I think the world of everybody that's done that, and even the people that acted in it. And then we had producers. We have Al Burke from Full Moon, that's a producer. He was in the Killjoy movies and in The Wedding Singer.
Nice.
I appreciate him with all my heart because he's been a great friend to me, and Sammy, and he's been kind of a wonderful friend to me, and I think the world of him. And we've got some other wonderful producers. We've got producers from all around the world. We had people travel
Yeah.
from all different places to come and be in the movie too. Um,
Did you do
so I'm so
crowdfunding?
thankful.
Did you
Huh?
do Did you do crowdfunding for your movie?
No, me and Sammy were, since we was kind of like the one man show, basically, or two
Right.
man show. We just said, you know what, we're just going to make this happen. But we was going to do a movie a while back called The Hag Witch, which we didn't get the money for that because we were supposed to have Andrew Divoff in that, and he cost a lot more because we didn't really. It was during COVID the time we did that, and there was a
Right.
lot of people that had campaigns that they weren't really doing movies and producing movies, so it kind of hurt the real good guys like us that would have actually done the movie and got it done. So we decided, well, we'll go a different route then, and we'll make, instead of a weak character for this person, which she was a different name, we decided, hey, well, let's do a movie that's taken what little bit of money that we did get with what, which wasn't much, and put it into starting this one. So that's when, how we got kind of started on Redhead, and then we just from then on went, got the script done for Redhead, and told everybody, if you want helped on Hagwitch, now Redhead is here, and everybody loved that idea, and we just finished it with our money after that, and the producer's money, and all the locations we had, and we had people that traveled here, and I don't know, I feel blessed, and I love everybody like crazy. I just can't explain how much I love them, and Sammy loves them, and we appreciate them with all our hearts.
How long did it take for you to shoot your movie?
Well, we was at the time, we was at the end when we started Redhead. We was at the end phase of Reunion from Hell, that we did with Hayden Newman, and so Sammy was in the editing process of finishing the last, because he had to finish the editing on those, and all plus help make those with Hayden with me, and so then we also did Reunion from Hell 2, that we helped do, and then that I was in, and then he had to edit it. So it totaled 3 years. So we tackled three movies, the last of Reunion from Hell 1, Reunion from Hell 2, and then Redhead, and we did them all within this whole period of 3 years. So
Wow.
we really was working hard on everything, trying to do three movies.
It's a lot. People don't realize how much, how hard it is to get a movie from proof of concept to the actual, screen.
Yeah.
Speaking of screen, does your town have a movie theater t in it?
Yeah, we have several, but our premiere was done at a huge theater, and it was the Marquee Theater, Pullman Square, and it's a big, huge movie theater, and that's where we did our premiere for. Well, that's where he did his premiere at 12 Pole, and then we did also Redhead's premiere there also.
What was that like for you? I mean, was that your very first, red carpet?
No, well, I had the red carpet also for Reunion from Hell in Tennessee, and Reunion from Hell 2 also was in Tennessee. And those we had, Hayden also had some pretty big stars that was in there with us that we work with, Danny Hassel and Lisa Wilcox and Mark Patton.
Oh,
And
God,
then, and
nice.
then, yeah, so we worked with some big people. In Reunion from Hell 1, we had the Night of the Demons star, Kathy Podwell, that we worked with in Reunion from Hell 1. So we really all three of us worked with some big stars. And then when we did the Redhead premiere here, everybody that was involved, and everybody that wanted to see it, and a lot of people that grew up with us, and people that just came in. We could There was like 300 and some people that night to see it, so we was really appreciative. We was really happy that many people showed up, and it was a big deal. We had a photographer and a big backdrop, and tried to make it really fun for everybody to get
Yeah.
pictures and everything.
I'm looking at the guests. I'm looking at your, reunion from hell. Man, that seems to be pretty action packed here. Looking at the cast for that, you're right. You worked with Kathy Podwell, and you worked with probably one of the fastest rising stars in horror right now, and Jessa Flux.
Yeah.
Uh, yeah, wow. So, yeah, you got a little pedigree here going for you. Uh,
Yeah, and then I helped make those films also, so that was kind of cool too.
now you started off with your first film. You started off with Undead Fred. So, and you played a zombie in that. Um, now talk to us about, most a lot of times, to get actresses to wear makeup. Like the first thing you do is sit there and say, "Wow, you look really great. Thank you. Now we're going to dump a ton of blood on your head." A lot of times, like, "Well, say what?" So what was it like being a zombie, and what kind of makeup did you have to? Was that your first time that you had actually worn makeup, or had you already been experienced enough because you worked at the haunt?
The haunt, and then I used to always do zombie walks all the time too. They had always would have to where you could save animals and do zombie walks, and they used to either you did your own makeup or you would have them do it. I would always do my own. So that I'd try to win an award, which it was kind of funny because I did win an award one time. I was crazy and did my makeup, and it was really crazy looking. And I put leaves and stuffed it all in my hair to look like I'd been laying out in the leaves and all this. And so I had already got kind of used to liking to, and every Halloween I did my makeup, and my boys are in their 20s now, but when they were young, I used to go out and either be a zombie with them or do something fun, and dress up every year with them when they'd go out trick or treating. And blood, I don't mind it. In Redhead, you'll see I take blood however it comes. I've had it in my eyes, mouth, nose. It's been caked, sprayed all in there, and I even keep my eyes open so I can watch my victims die. That's how much I like it. I don't mind. It's kind of fun for me. I love it.
Uh, Steven says that he says he can see you playing Piper Laurie's character in a Carrie remake. Um,
Oh, that'd be cool.
yeah, because yeah, that would be very cool. What did your boys think about when you told them that you're going to become an actress? That were they like hell yeah, mom, or were they sitting there going like you what are you gonna do? You're doing what? What was your reaction to your family when you told them that you were going to be making films and making horror films?
um, they were really happy and excited that I was going to do that because they also thought that I really was kind of meant for doing it because of the way I've loved horror so much. And I mean, I even had a room that had horror everything like all around, and I'd watch them in there. And I I've always had a big, huge thing for horror movies, and I've always kind of felt like I was meant to do them. And they weren't really like they were surprised and excited and happy, but they at the same time they were thinking, "Hey, this is like kind of what you was meant to do, mom," or kind of this kind of. And my parents weren't. They were surprised and happy, but at the same time they felt like they it wasn't a big surprise that that I was getting to do something like that. But then now they're so proud. My
Sure,
dad was at
and it
both of the
should be.
premieres, and he's so proud of everything. Bless it, and he's proud of Sammy so much. And he says Sammy's so talented. He said this does not look like an indie film, Sammy. It looks like some big huge budget film. And I thought that was sweet of him. Bless his heart.
Well, I'm gonna before I get back into your story because you love horror so much that I'm gonna bring back one of my favorite questions to ask people. I haven't asked this question in a while, but I'm gonna ask it now. But uh, so Hereditary, yes or no?
Yes, I did like Hereditary.
Okay, I had to ask.
The first
I
time I
had to ask.
watched it, I wasn't that crazy about it because I didn't really understand it that much when I watched it at first because I was like, I don't know. But then later on, I kind of figured it out, and then I kind of liked it. But it was kind of funny. It took me a while to figure it out. I had to watch it a couple times to actually know what was
Supernatural horror
going
is like
on.
that though, isn't it? I mean, it's funny. It's like a lot of people, and I find this to be very amusing, by the way. They can sit there and they can watch slasher movies all day long. I mean, they're down with slashers. Friday the 13th, Halloween, Texas Chainsaw. They're all yeah.
Uh-huh.
The Solace family. Well, we're gonna do a possession movie. Let's go watch a possession movie. Oh Lord, they no. They get creeped out by possession horror, supernatural horror. People get really freaked out about that. They can watch a slasher. They can watch like I said, they can watch a even though in a sense they are supernatural. Um, but they could watch a Freddy Krueger. They could watch a slasher movie, but when it comes down to something like The Omen or something like that, something scary or Hereditary, you know, people just there's just something about that that really gets in the this I don't know, something primordial, I guess. It's like an inherent fear of that. Um,
Uh-huh.
I mean, did the character did people trip out on your character? Kind of what kind of movies do you think that your town likes to watch? Are they? I mean, you because I'm sure you talk movies a lot with a lot of people. What type of
Uh-huh.
horror movies? What kind of horror do people in West Virginia like to watch? I mean, what are they?
Um,
What floats
it
their boat?
it seems like a lot of them like a lot of the 80s movies like we do, and they like it where we do the practical effects, instead of CG effects and that. But then there is some that whenever they come to watch Redhead and they didn't know there was some possession stuff in it. Some of the people they loved it, but it kind of freaked them out a little bit with
Mhm.
the possession aspect of it. And then the last we had another showing of it in February, and this always kills me when I think about it. And there's an elevator you can take at the theater, and we went ahead and went down the elevator. And as we was leaving, we was with another friend, and Sammy went out to the car and he was taking out the big banner and stuff to the car as I was coming down. And these young boys, they saw me there and they said, "Hey, oh gosh, Redhead's down there. I don't want to go down there." And then I said, "Oh, I was like, you can come down here. It's fine. That was just acting." And then my friend said, "She ain't gonna hurt you. She's the sweetest thing in the world." And they was like, "Oh no, I ain't risking it." And they took off. And I thought, I never thought that people would ever do that to me
Yeah.
because
Super
I'm
super
never, around
supernatural
people.
horror does that to people. It freaks them out. It does. It's
But
like,
that's the
I
whole part. Is
my buddy Catfish, I mean, we would sit there and we could watch a regular horror film all day long, and then I would sit there and say, let's watch some supernatural shit," and he'd be like, "Nah, I'm good." He'd be out the door. It's like, "I'm good. I gotta go." It's like, but it's just really strange. You get to watch people react to that. I'm not surprised you get the reaction you did. Um, see, Steven says here, he has some questions. And he asked, "Do you wear contacts when the blood gets? How do you protect your eyes from all the blood and goo? Do you wear contacts to protect your eyes from that?"
no,
No.
honestly,
Okay.
no.
Uh,
I just wanted my eyes to be naturally blood stained. There probably will be some contacts in the next movie, but in this one, I wanted to still have my human look as I was killing, and then eventually, kind of the portrayment of it kind of looks like I have contacts in, but I don't. Not in this one, anyways.
uh,
Oh, it's
and
so sweet to ask that.
um, Steven says, "Well, she might kill you by liking The Shining too." Oh Lord. Uh, are you a big fan of The Shining?
I do love The Shining. Yes,
Yeah. Yeah,
I do. I love it.
I think this will be our last show ever tonight, Steven. This is it. We're closing the doors after this. Uh, Steven has a question for you. It says he says, since you mentioned you had kids, he was curious, what age did you allow your kids to watch horror?
Well, I used to, when I was little, I used to drive my dad and mom crazy about wanting to watch horror movies when I was really little. So I wanted to see what my boys would do because I knew it didn't really bother me none, but I didn't know how it would scare them. So I was kind of afraid. But my oldest son, Derek, he always had a thing for horror movies. And my youngest one later, he really loved them too. So I really didn't have an issue when I felt like they might want to join me to watch one or something, because if they was in their room watching some of their TV shows, I would kind of like watch mine, let them watch theirs, so that I wouldn't mix things up a little bit. Or if I watched something with them, that was great. We'd watch stuff I thought they liked if I watched it with. But then I started seeing they did like it, so I kind of grew them up too on the 80s horror flicks, and they seem to really like it, and they still do. And I'm excited that they loved them like I did.
Yeah, a lot of people they cut their teeth on the 80s, that's for sure. Um,
Yeah.
yeah, so I definitely get that. So again, going back to let's go back to when you had to dress up to be a zombie. So
Uh-huh.
was that the first time, as far as that? That was your first movie, right? That was
Uh-huh.
2019. What was it
Yeah.
like the first time you walked on set? Do you remember the emotions that were going through you when? Uh,
Yeah.
did you remember the emotions? What it was like for you to walk out there for the first time as a working actress, and what was it like for you? I mean, what was going through your head?
I was very, very excited to do this part, just because I knew that it was just going to be something amazing and fun to do. And I'll never forget this, and I know Sammy won't forget it either. I walked out and there was a whole bunch of us there, and I had these contacts in. They were like red contacts, and then I had my makeup. Josh Adkins did my makeup for that from the haunt, and so we was all together. And when I walked up to look at Sammy, he went, "Oh my god!" I freaked him out really bad, I guess, because that's the first time he ever seen me looking like that. And I had this black stuff coming out my. He was like, "Oh," and I guess it kind of really caught him off guard, because he always seen me look like I normally do, and then he saw me look like that. He's like, "Oh," and I'll never forget that. And we talk about that sometimes and just giggle and laugh about that. And in that movie, I have to bite a rear end cheek off of a guy and eat it, and then I get hit in the head with a rock. So
Boinks!
I'll never forget. It was so fun. The whole thing
So
was funny when I go back and look
you took a
at it.
bite out of you took a bite out of some guy's ass, and then why would you hit it? Why would you get hit in the head for doing that? That's what zombies are supposed to do.
He was
What was
making
the
out.
what did they make the butt out of? I mean, what was it? Was it like how do they make the prosthetic?
Sammy made it, and he made it to where that it looks like real skin with his pants on it. And whenever I pulled it off, it had like basically like streams of flesh that would come out to look like his flesh was coming out, and then the blood went and came out too. And then when I had it, I and I
Right,
just
right.
took it between my teeth. And then I got up and I saw his girl that he was kissing. He was making out with a girl when I bit his butt off. But then whenever whenever I got him, and he's like screaming and stuff, she gets up, and then I'm going after her, because I'm like, "Oh, I don't want this butt cheek anymore. I want her. I want to eat her." So then I go after her, and that's how I get hit in the head with a
Oh,
rock.
getting it. Oh, see, he already got jealous already. Oh no,
Yeah.
you ain't going nowhere. Speaking of Sammy, he just walked through the door. Hello, Sammy. How are you? We are talking. We're talking plot lines and films with actress, producer, and model Johnna Hodge. Um, Hi, Sue. How are you? How are you? Glad you're here. This is fun. I'm having a lot of fun doing this one. That's for sure. Um, should we tell Sammy about our idea for this next movie, or should we should make him wait for that? Make him watch
Yeah.
it. Make him watch it, and then that way when he
Yeah.
hears us, then when he hears us talking about the new movie, that way he can he can sit there and blame me for that one. But of course, if it does work, then okay, so that was your first movie. You got on the set, you got your makeup on, absolutely fell in love with it. So then you came back the next year, and did another short called Conversation with the Devil. And
Yeah.
let's talk a little bit about that. Now, that was actually your first movie that you had a dialogue in it, right?
Yes. And it's out also where you can watch it. It's on Shorts TV. And you can watch it too. And it's a really, really good script. It's really great. It's
Yeah,
won an award too.
the score for the IMDb is 8.3. That's really high. That's
Yeah,
really good. That's a really good score. Uh, uh,
it
um,
did really well. Everything about it was really awesome.
Now, are you? Let me ask you this. Let me ask you this. Are you and Sammy? Are you guys religious people by chance, or has horror sort of like driven that out of you?
Um, we are religious people, but we also have open minds with lots of other people's beliefs. So we're kind of religious, but we have open minds also. So we never like have any feelings about what anybody else believes is wrong or anything like that. We get along with everybody.
Because I know back there they have some Pentecostal churches still, and they have some of those, I know it's very prevalent in in West Virginia and the South. It's imbued more than other states. It's more important there than like say Michigan. Michigan's heathen. Um, so I was just wondering, how did that work out? Like did people comment on your movies? Have you heard anything negative from anybody about this kind of movies that you guys are making?
No, it's wild. Everybody accepts it and loves it. We've not had anything bad here at all about it. But I think it's because people know, they know who me and Sammy are, and that we love horror, and they know. And it's funny because even people that you wouldn't think that would even like it, because it didn't seem like they'd like horror movies or anything. I think when they get to know me and him, they're like, I have to watch this because I got to know you all, and you guys are like a fun couple, and
Right.
uh, they like our energy, I think, so they have to see it because of that. It's
Yeah,
kind of
I can see
wild,
that.
but we try to befriend everybody. We love everybody, so we try to make friends with everybody.
Now, in the Conversation with the Devil, like we mentioned, your first role that you had dialogue in it.
Uh,
Is it easy for you to memorize dialogue? What's some of the tricks that you use yourself to memorize your lines?
um, it isn't that hard. When I first started, at first it was, if I didn't know like what I was going to be saying and what my dialogue was going to be until last minute, I'd get kind of nervous at first, like when I started out, and I would be like, I didn't know this, so I got to like make sure I know this because I wanted it to be perfect. I didn't want anything to go wrong. And then and so I didn't really have any problem with that one because I really didn't have a whole lot of dialogue in that one, but I had enough to where it kind of impacted a little bit of it. Um, but my biggest challenge about dialogue was when I got on Reunion from Hell set, and me and Sammy was making the movie, and I wasn't supposed to be cast in that movie. I was supposed to just be there as helping to make the movie. And when I get there, me and Hayden are talking, and Hayden says, "Well, one of my actresses dropped out. I know you're an actress, and I'd like to have you be one of our stars in the movie. I'd like you to play Jen." So I get there, and it's like the day I get there, and boom, we're already starting to make the movie, and now I get there, and I accepted, but now I have to know my whole dialogue script on top of making every scene of the whole movie. So that was a challenge because I looked at Sammy, and I'm like, I'm so happy about this. I'm excited about this. But at the same time, I don't know any of the dialogue because I didn't study it because I was making the movie. I wasn't supposed to like be in it doing doing a role, being a star in it. So that was a real challenge for me, trying to make every couple hours that I had left after us being on set, sometimes 12, 13 hours a day, making the
Mm.
movie with me doing boom and helping make it, and still had to like take my last 2 hours to go over the script and try to get learning what all my scenes was supposed to be, exactly what I was supposed to say, do, and everything. And it was challenging, but that was probably the hardest one I ever had to do, as far as where it was a set that you only had so much days that you had to make it. I think it was 11, 12 days, and you didn't have no time to rest or anything. Just me and him had to keep making it and learn my script. It was rough, but I did it, and it's a big growing thing, I think, for me.
That movie, like I said, you had that was like some big stars on that set. Who was the first big star that you met? What was it like meeting them?
Well, at the time, Kathy Podwell was the Night of the Demon star, and she was the one that I was excited to meet. So I was really excited to work with her because I always was real big about Night of the Demons growing up. So I was really excited to
I was
meet
big
her.
watching. I was really big watching her in Dallas. Oh,
Yeah, Dallas too. Yeah. I always, when I was little, I always loved Night of the Demon. So I was like, well, this is really cool. You know, you get to meet her, you know, when you always kind of really love watching her. And she was so cute in that movie. And here she is. And she's still so sweet and loving and kind as if you know, you wouldn't imagine, you know, that she would be like that, like kind of her character in the movie. So sweet. And she was.
Right. Did that surprise you about working with the well-known names on the set? Were you surprised to see how kind they were? Did you expect them to be a little bit standoffish or a little snooty?
You mean like the bigger stars, like from the
Yeah,
80s?
yeah,
I was just excited, I guess, and I wasn't for sure, but every one of them was super sweet. They all was just just amazing. I just can't explain how wonderful they was, and down home and just fun.
yeah,
Everything was so positive with them, and I Mark Patton was one too that I'll never forget. He was so sweet, and having breakfast with him, we would all talk. All of us would talk and just have a great time. And we had a problem there. The cabin that Hayden got that ran out of water before it was supposed to, and we was actually doing a scene that was in a hot tub, and we needed the water, and so we had to stop till we got the water delivered. And we all kind of like took a little break there, and me and Sammy was so tired because we was up all the time doing everything. So we kind of rested for a minute before we got started there on the couch. And when um, I woke up and there was Mark. I was in Mark Patton's arms and he was holding me, and I was like, "Really, really?" So I'll never forget that moment because that was a big deal to me. And Mark Patton was a big dream for Sammy to be around. So that was
sure.
kind of wonderful for him because he always that was one of his favorites from Nightmare on Elm Street too.
Oh, I can understand that. Our good friend John just walked in. Our good friend John just walked in from Doomsday Crypt, and he's worked with a lot of those people as well. Mark Patton, he's
Oh,
had a
that's awesome.
he does a podcast with Bernice the Bee, and they had a reunion of Friday Nightmare on Elm Street, and they had Lisa Wilcox
Oh,
on there. Yeah, that was a lot
yeah, I
of
love Lisa.
yeah, that's a lot of it's a lot of fun when you meet somebody like that for the first time, or and you see how you get to see how they are. People ask all the time. I'm sure you get asked all the time. What were they like? What were they like? And you tell them that they're just normal people. They put on their pants one leg at a time, just like you and I. Uh, but it's always nice to see that there's people that are kind, because sometimes even some of the actors, maybe they're not having a particularly good day, or maybe they're just not feeling it. Sometimes they can be a little bit cranky, but it's always good to hear when you have a great experience, especially if it's one of your very first movies, and they treat you like a peer. That's the thing. It's like, how are they going
Yeah.
to look at me? They're going to look at me as just some independent person who's just making a movie, or just glad to be here, or do they see me as an acting peer and as a scene partner and give me their all? Are they going to be generous with me, or are they going to be tight-fisted with me? So I'm glad you had a great experience. The movie sounds amazing. Um, Now, did you shoot that? Did you shoot that one in your town as well?
No, Reunion from Hell was shot in Louisville, Kentucky. And
Okay.
then the Reunion from Hell 2 was in Tennessee.
Yeah, Beatrice. Yes, Beatrice is an amazing actress and such a sweetheart too.
Yeah, she.
John does a podcast. He does a podcast with. He does two podcasts. Here's John. Here's how heavy hitter he is. He does a podcast with Beatrice Boppel from Nightmare on Elm Street, and then he does
She's
another
so
one with.
sweet.
Then he does another one called. It's with the big swag, Brett Wagner, the Lost Leatherface. And
Oh,
that guy has been in just about every movie there is. Brett is one of the coolest dudes on the planet, and John and him do a podcast together, and then John does one with Beatrice. that's how much of a heavy hitter John is, and he does conventions. And speaking of conventions, have you done conventions yet? Now that your movies are getting out there, you got some credits underneath your belt now, and people probably want to meet you. Have you guys been invited to do any conventions?
We have been, I guess, at a convention that was here, which was year and a half ago. So we did that one. We was guests with some people from Texas Chainsaw 2, a few other bigger stars, but it was like a littler convention that we had here. We are hoping that once Redhead goes full force and once it goes from the festival world into streaming and everybody sees Redhead, we hope maybe we might get asked to do more conventions.
Yeah, I think your chances are very high, especially if they have them at all. And in Huntington, I mean, that's the biggest city, and I think that it would behoove them to do well to develop your own, within the in-house home, film industry. I mean, how can you have a convention in West Virginia without inviting the West Virginians who are making the movies for you to help put you on the map? I mean,
Yeah,
it doesn't seem right not to have you. And if they don't have you, call me. Have Cheetah.
we're willing to
Have
travel too.
Yeah, that's right. Have Cheetah will travel. That's right. Damn it.
Yeah, we're traveling these festivals too. Now we won one festival for best horror, the Strange Days Horror Festival. We won best horror film, but now we're going to Always Late TV movie awards this month, and then we're going to Chicago horror film. We're going to that in May, and we're very excited about that one too. Both of them.
What's it like when all of a sudden you see your hard work being rewarded with awards and recognition?
I'm very meek about everything because I know that it wasn't. I mean, me and Sammy worked really hard with everything, but I feel like everybody that helped us and came in and contributed, and everybody that came in and helped be a character for us, everything they're a big huge part of it. And I'm just happy that everybody is got something that they're proud of, that they can say we won an award, we might be winning some more awards, and it just makes me happy and excited for the hard work to not just me and Sammy, but for everybody
Sure.
included, to feel like that they've been awarded something that they helped do too, and everybody that helped us with the locations and everything. I'm hoping maybe it'll be good for their business if something happens, that something good turns out later, even better for them. Hey, I want to see where this movie was shot at. Stuff like that for their businesses.
Sure. Let's see. Go back to the chat real quick. Let's see. Yep. Brett's been in a lot. He certainly has, and he's like I said, he's one of the coolest dudes ever. Brett Wagner is a cool dude.
Oh,
That guy is.
hi.
He's been on the show too. I actually was blessed enough to have him come on there and chew the fat with us, and super nice guy. And yeah, I love meeting them. I admit I love meeting the people I talk to. It's a lot of fun. And Beatrice has been on here before. In fact, me and Beatrice, we actually did a takeover of her podcast. That was a lot of fun. That's right. let's see. Let's see. Now we're talking about Texas Frightmares. Says Stephen will try to push Sam and Jonah for Texas Frightmare weekend. Stephen might have a little bit more pull than people expect. He's a press agent. He does publicity for
Oh,
a
wow.
lot of working actresses. Yes, he will get your name out there.
Oh,
He
thank
was
you.
he busts his ass. He busts his ass out there.
Oh, thank
And
you.
Sammy says, please, we submitted Redhead for Texas Frightmare for the film festival. And then John saying he'll be in Chicago in 2 weeks for Days of the Dead. And then oh boy, stand back. There's a bat coming. My good friend and my brother from another mother, Al Lucard, the Bat, aka the Bat. He's here. Hi Al, how are you? How are you? Yeah, he really is. Me and Al, we've been hanging out for, well, I've been walking. He's been hanging upside down. But we've had a lot of fun as well. Thank you for coming in, Al. Uh, yeah, Now, what talk a little bit about the press. What is the press like for you guys? Do you get asked to do podcasts a lot? Do newspapers come interview you? Have you been on? Have you has your local news talked to you about putting your town on the map?
Um, the whole about that world here is different. Pretty much, if we want to promote the movie here, now we've got the mayor that'll promote us, and like people like that that's big that'll promote us. But as far as when it comes to like the newspaper, they're not very good around here unless it's something small town. They're not very good about promoting. You pretty much just promote yourself. And so to even get what we had for the premiere being so big for the first one, we just had to work hard, let everybody know when it was going to be, make an event page, share, promote. So it's like you have to work really hard around here because where it's kind of a small town and there's not a lot of people that really like get hardcore and trying to, do the acting world here and everything. They're not very great. That's the one area that they're not great about. You're great about getting some good people to help you and act and give you locations that if you got a good rapport with them or you got a good pass with them, um, and people like the mayor here and the police department. But when it comes to other stuff, it's like you really have to fight. You have to fight
Yeah,
hard to get your work out there here. That's the
really, it
part that
really is.
is hard here.
Um,
You just have to do it all
how
yourself.
does how does CineSavage, how do you guys promote yourselves and your company? I know that you guys have I know you have a Facebook group. You have two pages. You have the Redhead page, and then you have the group page. And I can drop the group page on inside the chat here real quick. Give me 1 minute. Then you guys can come over and hang out. Okay. This is the Facebook page for Redhead. So you guys can go over there and become members of that, and tell them that the cheetah sent you. That's
Oh,
right.
thank you.
That's right. Um, let's see. Yeah. Oh, Steven's telling me he's going to go see Micah Ironside. So all right, I'm already officially hating him for that already. Michael Ironside is like a hero.
We love
Um,
him.
huh?
We
Uh,
love him.
oh my gosh! You know who Mike Ironside is?
Oh yeah,
Oh,
me and Sammy both do. We're
oh
fans.
my, oh gosh, yes. That guy could be on a stage reading a book. I'm so there. He could. I would watch
Yes.
him. I would watch him paint a wall. Michael Ironside is the bomb. That's for sure.
Yes.
So if you and Sammy could cast if you could cast if you could have a cast of your Grail get people who will be in your movie, what three actors and what three actresses would you cast in your movie if you could get anybody you wanted? What three actresses and actors would you want to share a scene with?
Well, we're already really good friends with John Dugan from Texas Chainsaw. So we're definitely wanting to cast him. And I'm really good friends with Linnea Quigley. So we would like to have her.
That-
As far as the third one, it's like it's hard to pick because we love so many. So we it's hard to pick. But those two I do know for sure, that we would like to have. Um, and but the other one I don't know. I guess I'd have to think about the role a little bit and kind of think about who would be great for what we would do for the next part of the script for Redhead 2 and see who would fit the bill real good for that.
I'm gonna have fun. I'm gonna have some fun with Sammy here. So we're doing Michael Ironside quotes. Yeah, Steven. Actually, John Dugan. He was actually supposed to be here this week. We had him scheduled last Friday with Terry Gerald from Harlow's Haunt, except that his
Yeah.
tech was not really working too well. So we were only able to have him on for like about 10 minutes or so before his tech just went. took a dirt nap, and we weren't able to connect with him. But he was on there just for a minute. If you go look at the interview, you will see John Dugan in there for like 5-10 minutes. Um,
Oh, I
he,
love it.
he he seems like a really cool dude. I mean, people
He
they
is.
saw that I was going to be interviewing him, and they're all coming up going like, "Dude, that guy's a trip. You're gonna really like this. You're gonna really like him. He's interesting." Um, and even though we only got him for like the 5 or 7 minutes, he was very interesting. That's for sure. And I would like to talk to him. I was really surprised. Really surprised me more than anything else was when I was looking and it was for someone like him with he was such a gatekeeper for all of us, working in Texas
Yeah.
Chainsaw. Sorry about that. I was really surprised to see that he has not really worked that much, befitting his status, as a horror,
Yeah.
because he's a horror icon. I marked out when I talked to him. I was sitting there going, "Holy shit, that's John Dugan." That's like, without him, without the Texas Chainsaw Massacre, the world would be vastly different. It really would.
Yes.
I think that movie more than Psycho and more than Night of the Living Dead. I think that movie had more influence than those two to get us where we are today as far as horror goes.
Yes.
I really believe that. All right. And we're talking. That's right. We're swapping lines from Michael Ironside movies. Um, all right. I've gotten my fair share of Steven mentioned. I mentioned some icons as well. I had John on. I had John on. I had Steven on. I had yeah. So we've had some icons on here. That's for sure.
Yeah.
So what's next for you in 2024? What's on the plate for you and CineSavage, other than Redhead 2? Is Redhead 2 ready to have you started filming that yet, or is it still pre-production?
We're still finishing the script really good to exactly what we want, because we put a lot of thought into it. So we're still finishing the script for that, and we're just like making sure that Redhead goes to conventions and all that. That way that we try to get some more value to the film before we put it streaming, or maybe somebody may see it and maybe want to pick it up. But we've had a lot of distributors that's been wanting it, but we don't want to go back to some of them that get it and then you don't ever see or hear from the movie again, because we've had that done before in the past. So we just want to make sure that we hold the value to it, and get more value and then put it out streaming. And if somebody don't pick it up, we'll just stream it ourselves. um, but it's
I
kind of
did
a
notice.
valuable film too, because
Yeah.
um, in the movie, my pug that's in it, she's also an actress. She was in the Reunion from Hell 2, but she passed away in May. So she was in the movie and almost finished all of her scenes. She had another scene, but she did pass away. So I had to grieve her and still try to do it. And then almost died back in July in the hospital. My intestines cracked open. I didn't know I had really bad diverticulitis, and
Oh
then
my God.
once I ended up getting better and I made it through and survived it. And I went back 2 weeks later, even though I was still a little bit sick, and I was holding that big old shotgun, the skimpy outfit, and went right back to finishing it. I said, I can't let people down. So it's kind of got a lot of like sentimental stuff to us too.
Sure. Sure. Oh, wow. You were really sick there.
Yeah, it was really bad. I didn't even know I had that really bad. In a few scenes, it's kind of funny. In the scene that I was ripping a guy's intestines out and choking him with it, and not long after that, mine exploded.
Wow.
It's
Wow.
kind of crazy, and and so Sammy thought I was going to die. They was like, we got to take her to emergency surgery right now. Well, then they found out they couldn't do the emergency surgery, because if they did, then I would die from septic right then and there. So I had to try to, like, there was like 3 bags on each side of my arms, and they were putting all this stuff in me with these different antibiotics to try to get me back to normal. And if not, they'd still have to try to do surgery. And for some odd reason, I survived it after days in the hospital. And then I went home and had to take more antibiotics later on, after days in the hospital. And then I said, well, I was like, I can't let people down, and Sammy knew I didn't want to let people down. He didn't want to let people down, and I went right back at it, and we finished it, and so it's really sentimental when I go back thinking, I didn't give
Sure.
up, and he didn't give up, and we got it done.
Your town sounds really amazing. Your town, I would love to. I hope that when you premiere, Redhead 2, I hope when you premiere it in your town, I hope that someone films it. I would love to see everybody. I hope there's filming of people in the theater watching it. And I hope there's someone films it outside. I think that would be really cool to see all your townsfolk there to sit there and cheer you on.
Oh, yeah. We made one video. We had the second showing in February, and Sammy kind of put out on Facebook on some of our personal. I think it was his personal, where you can kind of see people like whoa, and they were like second Redhead, the second showing of Redhead, whoa, and it was kind of wild. Now the first one was bigger. It was about 300 people, and it was wild like that, and we all had fun together. But the second one, it was kind of wild too. They still was kind of wild and fun, and I don't know. It's just
Sure.
where people hardly do this here. It's kind of a rarity too to see that here, and it was fun.
Well, it's good to know that West Virginia has a film community, and it has a vibrant one and a growing one. And yeah, when the Redhead 2 is ready to rock and roll, we'll definitely get you and Sammy to come back and hang out with us. We'll
Oh,
also be
he'd
talking
love
to
it.
Sammy. We'll be talking to Sammy, and we'll try to talk some of your castmates. Get them
Oh
on the
yeah,
show.
they'd love that.
Yeah, we'll get a panel going. We'll get a panel and have you guys come on, and we'll talk all things Redhead 2 and all things West Virginia and maybe that new movie we were talking about earlier.
Yeah.
Yeah, yeah, we are ghosts. Okay. All right. We have hit our time. This has actually been a lot of fun. I really don't want this one to end. Um,
It's
but we're
been
gonna let
fun.
you get. Yeah, it is fun, isn't it? Have you done
Yeah.
a podcast? Have you done a podcast like this before?
Yeah, we've done some in the past too, and I enjoy them. And you've been so nice. I've enjoyed you. You've
Oh,
been
thank you very
wonderful.
much. That's right, other podcasters. You can't compete against the cheetah. Speaking of cheetah, our good friend Lazy Cheetah just walked through the door. Let's see. Let's see. Redhead 2 will at least have. Will at least have. Let's see. Let me get. What do you say? Well, I will at least have the poop splatter. All right. That
We
sounds. That's.
talked
I'm so
about
there
that
for.
too.
I'm so there for that. We'll call that the Bill. We'll call that the Bill Paxton shot. Uh, you know. That's right. That's right. People can get that one. Um, Thank you so much for coming out and hanging out with us tonight. I really enjoyed it. I really enjoyed talking to you. Good luck to you and your and with Redhead and Redhead 2.
Oh, thank
Take care of
you.
yourselves. You and Sammy, I can't wait to meet you two back, side by side. It'll be a hell of a fun time.
Oh, we
I
can't
want to thank the
wait.
chat. I'd like to thank the chat for coming out and hanging out with us tonight for the end of
Thank
the week.
you.
Let me tell you before we go, let me tell you what's coming up on the show. So we will be back next week. That's right, on Monday. Monday, we will back on Monday as we will be inviting artist Mandy Raven will be here with us at 8 o'clock. And then on next Wednesday, we will be having two brand new, just launching actors, an actress named Nicole Ann and a film director named Khalil Neal, and they will be here on the 13th. And we will be talking. They made a movie called. Khalil made a movie called Tennessee Bigfoot. He had to be on the show. So he'll be here. He'll be here on the 13th, and then on the 14th we have makeup artist Haley Elizabeth will be here with us next Thursday at 8 p.m. And that's it for right now. We got more coming up, but right now that's what we'll be on next week. Um, Thank you again. And if it's 9:30 yet, at 9:30, if you go to Doomsday's Crips channel, He will be having James Shaver on his channel tonight at 9:30. And of course, the Midnight Hour will be on at 10:15 on Hobbs' channel, Hobbs Horror channel. So if you guys are looking for something to do after we're done, that's where we'll see us at. Stay right where you're at, Jonah. I'm going to say goodnight to everybody else. We will see you next Monday night for Mandy Raven. Have a great night. Peace.